Hello. So today is day 12 of Bible in 90 days, or What's in the Bible, where we're reading through the whole Bible from Genesis all the way to Revelation, just kind of seeing what the summary of the story of the Bible is, just page by page, chapter by chapter, as we move. Instead of picking and choosing little verses here and there, we're just going to look at it like a novel, just reading it from the beginning all the way to the end, to see what the full story is. So as we said, we finished Genesis, we finished Exodus, we finished Leviticus, and now we're in the book of Numbers, where the story continues. The Israelites are now in the desert or in the wilderness, on their way to the promised land, and obviously Moses is leading them. Well, we already know that the Levites, the priests, have been selected. The tabernacle has been built, and things are progressing in that way. So today, being day 12, is Numbers 22 all the way to Numbers chapter 32. Yesterday was actually more action packed than today, but still, it's all part of the story. So Numbers chapter 22, because the Israelites are moving through the wilderness, they have to pass through certain territories. Certain people said no, and obviously there were all these wars. So people are beginning to hear about Israel, that okay, these guys are coming through. If you have war with them, you're going to lose, or whatever else, because God, or their God, is with them. So Balak, king of Moab, was afraid of the Israelites as they moved through, and he summons a prophet called Balaam to come and curse, the Israelites for him. Balaam, the prophet, is actually a prophet of God. He hears from God. He goes to God and asks God whether he can curse, the Israelites, or do whatever these guys wanted him to do. God obviously says yes. However, the following day or week or whatever, Balak sends another designation of people even more honorable, with more of them and more gifts, which kind of probably makes Balaam go back again to God and ask whether he should go. At this point, God says yes, you can go, but only say the stuff that I'll tell you to say. On the way, Balaam and his donkey are actually stopped by an angel, because really God did not want him to go, but he stopped again. Then he's given another warning, to go, but to only say exactly what God would reveal to him. Numbers 23, Balaam obviously gets there, tries to curse Israel twice, but every time he would try and curse Israel, because that's what he was paid to do, that's what he was trying to get paid to do by Balak, he would end up blessing Israel instead. Obviously Balak here, the king of Moab, is confused as to, hey, I recruited you here to do the cursing, but instead you're actually blessing. But Balaam had no control over his mouth, because every time he spoke, God was using his mouth to actually bless Israel. Numbers 24, Balaam tries one more time, but again he blesses, and now he realizes that God's intention is only to bless Israel. So he actually tries some other things, but still a prophecy comes out of his mouth to actually bless Israel again. So at this point, Balak is not getting value for money, so he chases Balaam away. Numbers 25, so there's a little bit of a fast forward between 24 and 25. 24, it just says a plague comes among the Israelites and kills a lot of people because there was sexual immorality. The people of Israel were having sex with the Moabite women and whatever else, and beginning to worship the idols of the Moabites. A guy called Phinehas comes and actually kills a couple, an Israelite and a Moabite woman, that were in the middle of doing whatever they were doing, and this actually then stops the plague. So people then stop dying after this couple had died, and as a result, Phinehas gets a blessing for that. Now an attack on the Midianites is actually ordered by God. We get to Numbers 26, another census takes place, after the plague, the proportions of dividing the land, because now they were taking this census for the purposes of dividing the land when they get to, the promised land. So the land will be divided according to the size of the tribe. So in here, Numbers 26, we see the sizes, of the different tribes. This new count also included only the people who had not been counted in the last census, because those people were beginning or had already died out, as God had promised that they would die because of their disbelief. Numbers 27, the daughters of Zelophehad, they asked for inheritance of the land as well, because their dad, he had died and he had no other sons except for these, I think it was 7 daughters. So they come to Moses and say, listen, we want the land too. We shouldn't have to miss out just because we're women and our father did not have a son. So Moses goes to God and asks God, like, okay, what should we do? And God says, yes, of course, also give them an inheritance of the land. In this same Numbers chapter 27, Moses is taking up a mountain to take a look at the promised land where the Israelites were now going into. And as you remember, Moses and Aaron could no longer enter because of their disobedience, or how they had not treated God's name as holy by striking the rock instead of speaking to it. Joshua is then selected as Moses' successor. So Moses and Aaron, that kind of tag team, then becomes Joshua and Eleazar. Because you remember yesterday, Eleazar had been put as the replacement for Aaron after the death of Aaron. Get to Numbers 28. Gets the information on daily offerings, weekly offerings, monthly offerings, more of the regular offering. We get also a recap on the feasts and other offerings that they were supposed to do. Numbers 29, yeah, some more festivals again, and details of offerings in there. We get to Numbers 30. The mechanics of vows and how they would work, authority structures within a family, between the husband, the wife, and daughter. So basically, when somebody makes a vow, what counts as that vow being binding or not binding. We get to Numbers 31. There is a war against the Midianites. So after this attack had been ordered, the war actually finally comes against the Midianites, and the Midianites are killed. And we also hear an interesting piece of information that Balaam also dies. Balaam was the prophet that had been hired. So for some reason, he must have found his way back and told actually the Midianites how they could defeat the Israelites. But at this point, we hear that he dies. Then there's obviously some discussion about the division of the spoils, because obviously there was a lot of stuff that they managed to to capture. The last chapter of today, Numbers 32, the Reubenites and the Gadites, they request a portion of the land, because I think they were on this side of the Jordan, about to cross the Jordan to get to the promised land. They actually request the land because they just wanted to to settle there, but they had to come to an agreement that they would cross the the Jordan first, clear out all the land that needed to be cleared out, and fight all the wars. Then they would come back to where they wanted to be. We also hear that half of the tribe of Manasseh, would also settle on the other side, of the Jordan. So not a lot of information today, actually, because, of the detail of the numbers that were being, detailed between 22 and 32. But the story moves on. We know that the Israelites are getting closer and closer to, to the promised land. We know that Aaron and Miriam have died. Aaron has now been replaced by Eleazar. Moses also is about to die, and he has seen the promised land, and he's going to be replaced by by Joshua. So yes, tomorrow, day 13, we'll continue again in Numbers. Please share the video with your friends, like the page, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and if you've got any questions, just let me know. Hopefully you're enjoying this as well, and I'm sure we'll be, anyway, by the time we get to the New Testament, which is day 70, all of this information that we're learning now will prove very, very useful, because it makes for such a good background. So hopefully you're having a good time too. So see you tomorrow.